Alright, Shalom brothers, it's Kyle Ahmad back, got another lesson today. First I want to give all praise and honor to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders, the GMS, and honors to all the camps out there that are bringing out the truth. Okay? And basically, you know the deal, the topic is simple, alright, biblical basics, alright? And we're going to basically get into the prophecy as concerning a little so-called little bit of history in the Bible, how the Edomites, came into power, why they came into power, all right, and the fact that they're about to go down and go into slavery, all right, and all the other nations are going to go down as well, okay, because this whole thing was set up by Yahweh Shai, basically to show his power. The so-called white man was set up, who was our top enemy, all right, amongst all the other enemies, which are the other nations. He was set up basically to show his power, all right, for no other reason. For two reasons, all right. Like I said, to show his power and to punish us, okay, which we're going to get to here in a bit, all right. But we're going to start out with Genesis, the 25th chapter, all right, to show how basically the beginning of what today is the so-called white race, all right, the Caucasians, okay. And I'm going to start here, Genesis 25 and 20. So lock in 1 second. Genesis 25 and 20. And it says, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah the wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian, and Padan Aram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So Jacob and Esau, all right, which you're going to see here as we keep reading, those are the two children that were in Rebekah's womb. They were already struggling in the womb. So that's already the first sign that those two brothers, which will grow to be in two totally separate different nations, were not going to like each other. All right. So it's no marvel that so-called blacks, all right, so-called Mexicans, so-called Puerto Ricans, so-called Haitians, Dominicans, North American Indians, all right, and all the 12 tribes do not like the so-called white man, all right. Now there are some people, coons, Uncle Tomahawks, all right, who do get along with the so-called white man, all right. But the Lord is putting the spirit more and more in this time and age to show you that the so-called white man is our enemy, all right. And it was like that from the womb, okay. So let's keep reading. And it says, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So it's 2 totally different people. Okay? Now when it said 2 nations, did it mean she literally had the whole nation of Israel and the whole nation of Edom within her womb? No. It meant that those 2 children were going to grow, they're going to have kids, their kids are going to have kids, and their kids are going to have kids, and so on and so forth, until they grew to be 2 whole nations, all right, which are the 2 top nations on the planet Earth right now. And this whole movie, basically, which what it is, the Most High is the director, and this whole scene the Most High has set up, Israel and Edom are the 2 top players. All the other nations are just supporting cast. They're just out there, all right, the ones that get picked off randomly in a gun battle or something, in an action movie, they're just there, all right. It says here, read verse 23 again. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So it said the one people shall be stronger than the other people. All right. Now what does that mean? You look at society today, you look at the whole history between the so-called white race and the so-called black race, all right, and I keep saying so-called black, but it's not no damn black thing, all right? It's the nation of Israel. When you look the nation of Edom and the nation of Israel, it's clear that the nation of Israel is far superior mentally, spiritually, and physically to the so-called white man, all right? To the nation of Edom, all right? That's why it had to be a higher power through prophecy, okay? When you read the scriptures, it had to be a higher power that brought the nation of Israel down below the so-called white man, whom, when you go to Daniel 4:17, he said that they're the basis. He set up over the kingdom the basis of men, and the so-called white man is the basis of men. You can't go outside for too long without getting burnt. I'm in Texas right now, and it's summertime. It's June. All right, it's hot as hell outside. I can stand to be outside. I'd rather not be out there. All right, but I can stand to be out there. It's not too big of a deal. Put a so-called white man out there with no shirt on for two. He's gonna get toasted. All right. He's the inferior nation. That's why majority of them have blonde hair and blue eyes. Okay, due to recessive genes. Okay, they're the inferior nation. You just look. You compare Michael Jordan to Larry Bird or something. You know, which who knows? Larry Bird may have been a Jake. I kind of doubt it. But compare those two. All right. There's almost no comparison, okay? Or who's someone else I could Michael Jordan to John Stockton or Hornacek or something. Although those two white boys are cold, but you know, in the dancing realm, Jake dominates. In the sports, which you just mentioned, and within the sports, basketball, football, MMA. These so-called white people, all right, came up with MMA as to create some other sports venue where they could dominate, because football and basketball, Jacob took over, all right, as well as all the others, soccer, all right, baseball, okay, which soccer and baseball, you got a lot of Latin tribes, boxing, okay, wrestling. You just had not too long ago, Macho Man Randy Savage, which I looked him up. And I heard from what the elder said, from what the elder Rakah said, and when I looked up, he's either Italian or he was a Native American Indian. Okay, that dude was a straight up Jake. I always thought it was something weird about him. I could never tell if he was just a straight up white dude or not, but that dude's a Jake. Okay, he acted just like a Jake when he watched him back in the day, and I used to watch him. All right, so the one people are stronger than the other. All right, Jacob is stronger than Esau. Okay, but like I said, it was through prophecy that we were to go down under the so-called white man and the other nations. All right, let's keep reading. It says here, verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So people get that scripture all messed up, and they say either A, he came out hairy with red hair. Some coons, those what are their names? They call themselves the concealed truth, all right, or the revealed truth, the absolute Bible truth. Them coons, they said that it was a black dude with red hair, which you have so-called Negroes with red hair, but that's not what it's talking about, because it said he came out red like an hairy garment. It didn't say he came out red and hairy like a garment. All right, it said he came out red like an hairy garment, meaning back then the way their garments were made, they probably had a garment that was made with some type of hair, all right, animal hair or whatever, and it was red. And when he was born, there was probably one laying around, and then they looked at it and they looked at him and they said, oh, Esau, meaning wasted away. What's wasted away? His pigment. All right, that's why, like I was saying earlier, Jake can go out in the sun and be all right. Here in Texas, all right, if you're in any of these southern states, you know, from the east to the west coast, Jake can go out and be all right. Esau can't do that. All right, if they go out, they gotta rub all kinds of oil and tanning oil and all that, or they're going to the salon, so the tanning salon, to get tanned up. All right, because they hate us so much, and they hate our dark skin, All right, now woolly hair so much, and they call us big lipped and all this madness, but they're trying to go get that dark tan because they know something ain't right. Because of all the nations on the planet Earth, Esau is the only oddball. At one point, all nations on the earth were dark skinned, anywhere from light to dark skin. And I don't mean pale, I mean light to dark skin. All right, some looking like I forget the dude's name, the dude from Blood Diamond, which that's a Jake. All right, or Peter Mesna from Spartacus, which that's another Jake. All right, he's from Ghana. Two looking like Mike Bibby or something. Maybe not that light, because that little nigga's light as hell. But you know what I'm saying? Someone light skinned. All right. Who's the boxer? Miguel Cotto. All right, something like that. You know. All nations were dark to light skin, but not pale. Now you got pale. You got pale skinned devils walking around amongst all nations, or those who look like pale skinned devils amongst our nation, but they're actually Jake, like the Irish and the Scots. All right, a lot of the Irish and the Scots and the Spaniards. All right, case in point, the finals is on right now, and one of the guards for Dallas Mavericks, JJ Barea, that's a straight up Ephraimite. But you look at him, he look like a white boy. Jason Kidd, that's another Jake. That's a Jake right there. And I mentioned Mike Bibby, that's another Jake. All look like white boys. But you look at them, watch them moving around, watch them playing basketball, they got a totally different demeanor and swagger than a so-called white man, like Dirk Nowitzki. Alright? Dirk Nowitzki is a dump truck. All that dude has been hooping, he's a dump truck. Alright? So now let's keep reading. It says, verse 25 again, it says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. All right. Now, why did it not mention what Jacob looked like? It gave a clear description of what Esau looked like, but it didn't give no description of what Jacob looked like, because he wasn't an oddball. He looked like what the children and what the people were supposed to look like back in that time and age. All right. So that's strike one against you clowns trying to mix up the scriptures. All right, saying that one, Edom, when Esau was born, who's Edom, that it was a dark-skinned black man with red hair. All right, that's stupid. That's stupid, because they wouldn't have made such a big deal and the scriptures to point out his description if that was so. Okay, so now let's go to Genesis 27, because Esau, all right, that man Esau, who was born at that time, eventually was going to come into power and rule over the whole earth. All right, the first time he did that was when Greece came into power, when you read in the Maccabees, and then Rome. All right, then they had various other kingdoms like the beasts mentioned in Revelation. All right, like the 13th chapter, the 20th chapter, I believe, and the book of Daniel. All right, came into power and took over the whole earth, and it was recorded in prophecy. That's the most important thing. All right, prophecy. If you can't understand prophecy, you can't understand this book. All right, that's why you got so many people walking around crazy, saying that the white man is not Esau, or the white man is not the devil, or the white man can be saved, making no mention of the other nations, just the so-called white man. All right, or Mary was a virgin, or the virgin birth with the Lord. All right, when you go into prophecy and you actually go deep into this book and look up words and actually study, all right, you get the proper understanding of this book. But you got clowns that can't understand prophecy. That's why they're coming up with all these other crazy ass doctrines. All right, and you notice these people that come up against the GMS camps, mainly the elders. You notice that they ain't said nothing in a minute. They fizzle out after a while. Case in point, this clown Tawab Rakah. Now he's probably gonna go make a whole nother 18-part video just